It Happened on the Job, the podcast for relatable conversations with contractors. Sponsored by Goodman Insurance.
Welcome to It Happened on the Job, episode 147 today. My name is Mike. That's Brian.
Yo.
Before we get started here, I want to let you know that this episode is brought to you by the Buildsters. Check out thebuildsters.com to find out how you can become an accredited Buildsters Pro member today. You'll instantly become a part of the network of the best suppliers, manufacturers, and contractors in the industry, where you'll have the ability to showcase your work to thousands of qualified buyers. Please stop paying for leads that don't convert and become a Buildsters Pro member today.
Nice.
Got it.
All right.
Welcome, Kirk. How we doing?
How's it going, Kirk?
Welcome, guys.
Yeah,
Thank
I guess
you.
we should introduce you first before we start saying welcome, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
go for it.
our guest today, Kirk Page, president of KPS Alarms and KPS Fire Sprinklers. Now, how you doing, Kirk?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for
Nice.
having me on, Brian, Mike.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it, man.
Well, wanted to kind of detail your journey of how you got started in the industry and how you got to where you're at as president of KPS.
Yeah, so, I started off in very young. Company's been around since 1990, so, I'm only 32, so we're in good shape. And we've been around for about that 32 years, but I did start really young. Started off really in the alarm side of the company, in the alarm industry, and was trained as a teenager in how to install alarms and that kind of stuff. My dad owned a really small alarm company. And from there, I kind of broke off from my dad, started my own company, and it was just me. And so, it was me and some tools. I remember Lucky stores. Maybe you guys don't.
Yeah. My grandpa ran one
California.
for a long time.
They got Lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I stole like one of their crates out of the back. Here's an alarm guy, right? And I think I borrowed one. We'll call it borrowed. To put my tools in, that's how poor I was. So
was it one of those? Was it one of the bread racks, or it was an actual?
No. I think it was. I don't remember what it was, but I don't know. I was young, dumb, and stupid, and had a van and a truck, and literally would get the check from the customer, go buy my equipment that I needed to install it with that same check, and then install their alarm and start monitoring that customer. We had at that point a partner that we monitored with. Now we have our own monitoring center, but yeah. So initially, that's how I got started. Really, crawling in attics and under houses and doing commercial alarms, and so yeah, really small.
That's funny.
Very cool.
You talk about Lucky. What's funny? So we. My grandpa used to work for them for a long time. He ran a couple different stores, but we still to this day have one of their big stainless steel rolling bread racks that they used to put the bread in because he brought it home one day. And we use it for cookies now because we do a cookie party at the end of every year.
Oh, no kidding.
Right around Christmas time, yeah.
Yeah.
And so we got all these big sheep hands that slide in there because we do thousands of cookies in one day. But anyway, it's funny.
So we both have heritage of partners in crime there.
Yeah.
No, generously borrowing from.
Yeah. Gently used. Yeah. No, for sure.
Yeah.
So what are you guys at now? Like where's your bread and butter? Is it more commercial or residential or monitoring?
We do a lot of residential work, and so from there, kind of in about 1990. I had grown the company large enough where I had a few employees and just really wanted to figure out, is this for just me and my family? I was married, had two wonderful daughters. They're now 20 and 23, great girls, and been married 26 years, great wife. So super blessed there. But ultimately it was like, is this for me and my family, or is this for others, because I'd train up a tech or have an office person, and eventually there's nowhere for them to grow, right? So they're going to move on, and they did, and which is great. And but then I had to figure out, okay, what do I want to do from here? So I figured out that about 1990, let's see, that was about 98. I'm sorry, I was wrong on the date. So about 98, been in business about 8 years. figured out that I really want to grow this more than just me. And so started looking at other avenues to grow myself. I hadn't been on the sales side of the business much, which is funny because that's kind of what my focus is now. I kind of run the sales side of the business. We have a sales manager, and some other salespeople, but ultimately had to make that decision. So once I made that decision, I started getting resources, tools, and kind of people drop into your lap. And I hired a sales guy who actually used to own a company and worked in the builder market, doing what we do. We kind of took over some of his work. I bought a small company from a guy named Dave Chadwick along the way, and ultimately he turned me on to the book 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. Still a great book today by John Maxwell. I'm sure most of your listeners have heard of him, and that really started to catapult me in growth of leadership. And from there, I probably took about the next 8 years and just immersed myself in leadership and growing and learning. We hired a company called MAP, Management Action Program, to help grow us and facilitate us and work with me. So that really catapulted us. Funny thing, how I got in the construction industry was kind of looking at how do I continue to grow my business? What markets do I want to go through? And as you guys know, construction, you're in that market segment too, where that's one of your big customers. I met a guy who sat in front of us. Him and his wife sat in front of us at the church we were attending at the time. And they came back the next week, and I remembered their names, and we became good friends. Well, he ended up owning one of the largest HVAC companies at the time. That was probably about 2001, and kind of took me on and mentored me as well. And then at the same time, we got in a national association of low voltage integrators and started learning from those guys who were in the builder market, and we started working in the builder market. And today we have close to 200 projects throughout the state. We have an office here in Ontario as our corporate office. We have another office in Pleasanton, California, which is up in the Bay Area. Mm-hmm. And then another one in Roseville, which is Sacramento market. So, and to me, the biggest thing for me during that time is just, growing the team around me and then bringing on, the right people that fit the company values and also have the skill sets for what we do.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, wow.
And congratulations. It sounds like obviously you guys are doing pretty well. If you can talk about that decision to bring in, who did you say the firm was that kind of helped you with that leadership and growth?
It was MAP, right?
Yeah,
MAP?
actually it's a company located down here in Newport, and it's called MAP, Management Action Program.
Yeah.
And so they do they help you to be disciplined as an organization, and we have a monthly meeting, which we set vital factors. Each team member in there's about 6 of us that are in that meeting, and we all have vital factors that we're focused on, myself included. And so those are the things that are going to drive the business and really help us to continue to improve and to be better for our customers and for our employees and those kind of things.
So was that something that you just decided, hey, this is something I want to do. I want to build. I want to grow. I want to be a great leader, and let's do this? Or was it a result of trying and stepping out into that and not succeeding maybe as quickly as you wanted to?
Yeah, that's a great question, Brian. So along the way, we all have trial and error, right? And so I had plenty of that and was getting pretty frustrated. And then like I said, I was young, dumb, and tried to just figure out, like, how can I learn without, trial and error? And so, books, I think I have a degree, even though I don't have any degree. I graduated high school, so I'm a construction guy, right?
Yeah.
But I really did my own degree, I guess, if you will, in just studying the subject of leadership and get my hands on every kind of leadership book that you can imagine, and growing myself. So back to back to your question, I figured out that, hey, why don't I learn from others? So network of people, and I'm still doing that today. I'm actually sit on the board of AIN, which is Authorized Integrators Network. So we basically have a network of integrators throughout the United States. Great group of guys. You know, some of my best friends are actually, you know, in that group. You know, from work, of course, the people I work with are amazing. And I have some good friends through KPS. You know, and then so I learned from all of them, whether it be a peer in another company or one of my workers here. You know, I'm learning from everybody and continue to grow today.
That's smart. I think that, I mean, it's so many of the most successful leaders or successful people in companies are guys that surround them, and girls that surround themselves with like-minded people, right? That are wanting to grow and want to. And I think there's some people that kind of looked at it as like, hey, I want to hold my cards close to the vest, and I don't want to share what we're doing, and I don't want to kind of put myself out there because this is my business, and I don't want to be, you know, copied or stolen or anything along those lines. But there's a lot to be said for, you know, that peer mentorship, especially in an industry.
Yeah, I know a lot of people do get worried about that. Like, well, what if they surpass me, or, you know, the ego, right. The male ego, right? Or the female ego could be. But, you know, I think at the end of the day, you know, there's not only so much of the pie to go around. You know, everybody's like, wow, I got to get more of the pie. And, you know, when you live with a mindset of, you know, and I mean, we live in the greatest nation on earth, you know, on God's given earth, right? And so when you live with a mindset that, you know, especially here, you know, and we've done family missions trips to, you know, the slums of Kenya or Papua New Guinea, you know, the villages of Papua New Guinea. I mean, I've been all over the world doing different kind of ministry, and you see a lot, but I mean, here we're just so blessed, you know, it's overwhelming. And so when you come from the mentality that, okay, there's an abundance of resource around us, you know, as a Christian man, I trust in Him to take care of me. But in that level, I don't have to have the ego. I can go and say, how can I help you? How can I be a blessing to you? How can I make an impact in your life? You know, whether it be a customer or a friend or a coworker, you know, that's kind of the mentality that I've taken on. And I really learned a lot of that through, you know, my current pastor. We've been there 18 years. He's an amazing man. And I've learned a ton of leadership through him, and, you know, just growth, but also how to care for people, and how to not just make it about yourself. So that's part of the growth that I think's happened.
Was that mentality in terms of living beyond just yourself? Like because you had mentioned earlier, you had this kind of aha moment where you were looking at, am I going to continue this just so that I can make a buck and take care of my family? Or am I going to continue this and create essentially a legacy, right? Was that part of that mentality? Were you already kind of exposing yourself to different missions opportunities across the world that kind of started to change your thinking and how you were developing?
Yeah, you know, that's a great question, Mike. You know, I didn't grow up a Christian, so I was pretty.
Can I stop you right there, Kirk?
Yeah, go ahead.
I love that you're calling me Mike, and I appreciate that because Mike is probably one of my.
Oh man, I'm blanking. I mixed you guys up.
I'm wondering if it's because it says Mike and Brian, and Mike is literally underneath my name.
Well, and what's funny, what people won't hear is that I screwed up his name in the intro, and we actually reshot it. So.
Oh, did you really?
Well, yeah.
Oh, you called him. Yeah, you called him. Yeah.
I screwed up Kirk's name in the intro that nobody's going to see that. I'm going to confess to it now since he's messed ours up. But I did screw it up, but we got to reshoot ours. So anyway.
You know, it's actually correct on the screen. And when you guys said it, I flipped them. So somehow I'm like, oh, that it's opposite of the way it's written. So that's how I memorized it. And I'm like, no, I was wrong. So, all right,
worries,
Brian.
man. All good.
I'm sorry. I just,
All right, moving on.
Thanks for correcting me, man. So, you know what? You're teaching me humility like I'm preaching here, right? So it's all good. It's all good.
Sorry. You had a much more profound answer than what I interrupted you for.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Yeah. So I don't even remember your question now, Brian. Go ahead.
No worries. I was asking in terms of, that aha moment that you had at the very beginning when you had to you made that choice and that decision to move forward. Was that as a result of just being exposed already in a lot of ways to go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. So when I was a teenager, 18, life was fully surrounded around me. I was the center of the universe. That was my mentality. And
as
whatever it did was good for me, right? So, then I had, what they call the coming to Jesus moment, so ultimately that shifted my worldview and how I view the world, right? And so out of that, I had to, and it's daily, getting rid of self and really, looking at, it's not all about me, although I still have, I'm a guy, I'm a human, right?
Yeah.
So there's still selfish stuff going on there, but I continue to try to work on that. And so part of that is looking at others and looking from their perspective, whether it's an employee, one of the things that I used to not get my head around is, this is great for me as a company owner, but how does it affect my team member, my employee, that kind of thing. And if I was them, what would I think about this? So that's a really important question to ask yourself in all levels of relationship, with my spouse, my wife, sometimes we fight, and sometimes I need to say, okay, let me just listen to her and figure out where she's coming from and get rid of my, walls of pride or whatever the case may be, and try to work on that. So that's something I continue to work on today. I'm still a mess just trying to figure it out, but ultimately, it's been a great adventure. And, I think when you live that way, it really brings a lot of peace and joy, into yourself. So, yeah.
So I have to imagine that creates a pretty cool working environment, right? I mean, so many owners are me, and not that I'm talking crap on a lot. I shouldn't say so many. There are quite a few, right? And we've all worked for them or have heard about them in the past. But kind of speak to your employee morale and how that's translated. Translates to how they operate and what you guys are looking for when you're bringing in a new hire and some of those things.
Yeah, that's a great question. And Mike, I'm sure that not all my employees think I'm that great. So,
well, if they knew,
especially when you're driving, right? You're driving things.
But you could still be driving and be selfish about it the whole way, right? And it would be even worse. So, yeah.
So let me give you an example of that. Like, one of the things that I think a lot of our positions, almost all of them, have some kind of incentive program into what they do, right? Because we want them to meet certain markers and do certain things, and so some of that is incentivized in the results that we're looking for. So, but we have, a certain area of, that geographically wise, and so there's some things that maybe they can't control that's affecting them from hitting their bonus they get a weekly bonus in this sector, right? And so some of it is possibly them, but if they're not hitting their bonus, then I'm not super excited to necessarily work at an efficient pace, correct? So that's an area where, going back to your question is, I'm concerned for them because they're not making as much income as they can, the opportunity is there for them. So it's part of, how do I look at it and how do I care for them and work on getting them into that bonus structure? Is there something that we need to take on as a company and maybe, increase the and it's hard to do because in a business, you're always looking for cost efficiencies.
Right.
But sometimes, you know, not spending the money actually costs you money.
Yeah.
So, you know, do we put a bigger incentive in there so that they hit it, and then work with, you know, streamlining those, you know, and this is something I'm actually dealing with right now, you know, and I'm brainstorming it, thinking that I'm going to take it to our executive team, because, you know, it's just not where it needs to be. And there's multiple things there. So a lot of the feedback will come from them.
Yeah.
What is it that we're not doing as a company that is prohibiting you and wasting time, whether it's drive time or what have you, because I can't bill for their drive, although I have to pay for that drive time. Right. So if they're on the job, I can bill. And so, you know, those are things that I'm looking to get feedback from our executive team, but then we'll take it down to having a large meeting, getting together, you know, social distancing still, masks and all that, but breaking some bread, you know, bringing in breakfast or whatever to our meeting location. You know, and you know, if you're starting out and you don't have a lot of money, meet at a park and buy some breakfast burritos, and, you know, you don't have to have a meeting room or whatever. But ultimately, you know, I need their buy-in and their input in that, so that I can help them to be successful and grow, you know, within that company.
Yeah. So if I'm hearing you right, it's not just offering that incentive, which is step one, right? It's also, you know, working with them and listening to their feedback on how they can meet those incentives to make sure that, you know, everybody's efficient and happy.
Correct. Yeah. And then obviously it helps us as a company. It gives them growth opportunity, you know, in their job, you know, because they're doing well and they're bringing more money home. So their significant other is, hey, this is great, I'm happy. And then hopefully they're happier as well. They're able to have choices in life. Hey, I have the money, I want to go and grab a nice meal, or, you know, whatever their dreams, their desires are, it helps them to catapult them into those areas. So, and I get to be a part of helping that. And at the same time, it creates a revenue stream for the company. So we're stable as a company, can provide them with their benefits, their payroll, those kind of things. And then also, you know, they can start looking at, okay, I'm here today, but just like I was, you know, I was an installer, you know, we started fire sprinklers in 2011. And, you know, there's several things that when we look at, you know, a company and what we want to do it, you know, obviously it's different products, same customer, right? So we deal with a lot of builders, different products, same customer, reduces the risk level there as you're looking at different things. But, you know, we're a low voltage integrator. So what's the first thing our customer said? The heck are you doing fire sprinklers? You know, like, and I'm like, well, you know, we do central vacuum, you know, so it's smaller pipe, smaller holes, and we just put water on it, you know? So that was my joke with them. Now, obviously, it's regulated. There's code requirements. There's engineering. It's a lot bigger of a deal. But part of the reason, so it's same customer, different products, so risk level's a little lower. But the biggest thing is, you know, what we do at KPS is we protect and enhance life. So when we look at a business, does it protect life or enhance somebody's life? So if we're doing a home theater, you know, system in somebody's home, and the family gets around the TV. I mean, think it during COVID, right? Yeah. You know, like movie theaters are done, they're closed, you know, and we're now starting to open back up. But, you know, when somebody invested in their new home that's being built and put in, you know, ceiling speakers in the ceiling, and they got their subwoofer, they got their big screen TV, they're really getting that movie theater experience within their home, and they're able to sit as a family and enjoy that. Well, that enhances their life. You know, if we're putting a security alarm system in somebody's home and with monitoring, and an intruder breaks in, and we're dispatching the local police department, you know, it's enhancing their life. You know, if it's a model home sales rep and a shady character comes in, they have panic buttons. You know, we do not do model home sales offices without panic buttons. That's just I don't care if the builder wants to pay for it or not. We're putting them in because it protects life, right? So we enhance and protect life. That's kind of what we do. Fire sprinklers was an easy ad for that. Yeah. Because obviously, you know, if there's a fire in somebody's house, we see it in the news, people die. You know, this is going to prevent them from dying. So it's something I can get behind and be passionate about.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So is 100% of your business on that integrated new build stuff, or are you guys doing kind of, I guess it would, I don't know if it's remodel or how you would term it.
Yeah, so we have two main customers. Obviously, it's our builder customer, and then there are homeowners. Now we do have a small commercial segment that we do commercial security and cameras and those kind of things as well. But really, our focus is in the residential sector.
Yeah.
So we deal a lot with builders, a lot of national, regional builders. We're putting smart home technology in. Those homes, a 7-inch touch screen in the home that controls the home, and geofencing. So when the customer pulls up, it automatically opens the garage door and adjusts the thermostat and turns on some lights for them when it's dark. So we're working with builders in that. And in the marketing end, we have a marketing side of that where we have videos and print. It goes in their models and is in a stand, that kind of stuff, to help them market their home as a smart home. So yes, but mainly we're in the builder realm, and then we have our monitored bank of customers that we bill and monitor monthly, which is a great consistent revenue stream.
That's awesome. So it sounds like the intro to that builder was with, and I don't remember his name or if you mentioned his name, but that person that you met with early on, the HVAC guy, right?
Rod Trussler.
Yeah. So, I mean, was that something that you were just able to kind of take off from there, or how did that process work as far as, gaining relationships with these builders and be able to kind of create your business out of that?
Yeah.
That's not easy. I can't imagine that's an easy market to get into, right?
It's
not as easy
right.
as just knocking on doors and saying, "Hey, can I put an alarm system in?" Right? Or marketing to that. I mean,
especially when you're walking into a builder's office trying to, pitch them, and you're learning new technology, because we didn't do structured wiring, which is your phone data TV wiring in the home, or any of that kind of stuff. And so learning all that, was a little bit of a learning curve. And then, but I remember, what do I do when a builder asks me, what other builders are you working with? Right?
Fake it till you make it, right? Fake it till you make it.
Yeah, none. Yeah, exactly. So that's not the right answer, right?
You get the exclusive ability to be my very first. That's what you tell me.
That's right. Yeah. It's confidential information. Sorry. So, our very first builder didn't ask me that question. So I lucked out.
Thank goodness, man.
The grace of God. I don't know what it is, but yeah. So, once we're working with them, it's like, oh, we're working with this builder, and, and so we would tout that and then pick up another, and we're working with so-and-so and so-and-so. So that's kind of how we broke in. And then, really helping those homeowners customize their home is our specialty. So once they buy that home, we have home technology specialists that will meet with them. We're now meeting virtually, but we'll meet with them, go through all the technology that's available, what's included in their home, and we help build a revenue stream for the builder, right? Because every rooftop, they have a flat amount of profit, and we obviously can help add to that profit, margin. But really, it's helping that homeowner build their dream home. How do they want to live in it? Like that home theater that I talked about, getting that home theater in, or, they don't want to see the cables going down their wall when they hang their flat panel TV. So we're putting in tubing so that, they have that nice clean look. The wife doesn't want to see speakers, big tower speakers for surround sound on the ground, right? So, they can build them into the home. They're in the ceiling. It's aesthetically pleasing. So, those are the kind of things that we're able to help the homeowner to do. And then with that, we also offer them the security alarm monitoring and the camera monitoring. We actually have a really cool video doorbell that's just released. And, most of us have, I think a lot of us have video doorbells today, right? But we get sick of the trees blowing, the sun hit it, the bird flew into whatever the case may be, right? And you get notifications on your phone all the time. So we have a partner with alarm.com that has a video doorbell, and we're able to do video analytics. And so what that means is that it actually identifies it's a person, or if it's the camera, in the driveway, the customer can literally say, this is the trip line. If a vehicle crosses this, I want to be notified. Or if a person enters, or, you know, we actually have a video. It's kind of funny. You know, it's the no poop sign on the lawn. And if you want to be notified that it's a dog in your yard or whatever. So, you know, we have fun with it, right? You know, for those that are like crazy, like, you know, what do you call those? You know, it's the association cop, right? Or whatever.
Yeah.
It's monitoring. Yeah. So, you know, the person can do what they want to do, but they're not getting tons of recording clips that mean absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Because it's actually identifying this is a person, or this is you know, a vehicle in your driveway or what have you. So you're getting notifications that are actually pertinent to you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool, man. So where are you guys headed? I know we talked about it a little bit in the past, or before we got started here. Yeah, but what's the future look like for you guys?
I'm glad you asked. Let me
look at that.
So this is our 2021 goals. So we have an amazing executive team. We call our Vital Factor team, and like I said, there's six guys on that, and 7 including myself. But ultimately, you know, we got together end of the year, talk about, you know, what we did. I mean, obviously with 2020 being, you know, the year of COVID, if you will, massive change in there. So now we're into 2021, the market's turning, it's good. Let's talk about what we want to do for 21. So we met for 2 days and just kind of went through our whole entire, we rented a big conference room at a hotel, and just sat in there and went through different teams, presented operations, presented their goals, what we call customer care, which is our customer service department. You know, they represented their goals for the year, and sales represented their goals. We started off with that because it does that, you know, and office, which is kind of our support services for operations. You know, they talked about their goals, the executive leader for that. So we all talked about that, and we came up with kind of our thematic goal, which is theme-based. So what you see on the screen is not actually the detailed goals, but it's just kind of something to say, hey, this is what we're focused on this year as a company. So every computer, when it turns on, has this. We did a video explaining what this is. So if you look up here, you know, obviously 2020 goals. And if you look right here, it says love for customers, love for team, and I'm going to move out of the way here, and it says love for profit. Mm-hmm. So most companies are like, oh, I can't tell my customers I'm loving profit, right? Mm-hmm. But for us, you know, every company, you know, obviously needs profit, right? Yep. So our love for customers is actually just essential, right? Without customers, we can't focus on doing anything because we're out of business. So customers are vital, and then love for team is really, really important as well. And it's intentional that we put them in the middle, and you can't really read this right here, but it basically says that the team is in the middle because they're the glue, they're the hub of love for customer and love for profit. And so as a company, that's kind of what I talked about earlier. We need to love our team in the best way and possible. And so that means like, hey, what are we doing for 401k plan? It's what I talked about earlier. You know, hey, this segment isn't performing at the level that we want them to, and that they want to. And so is it us as a company? Is it something we can help them with? Do they need more training? What do we do? So that's loving on our team. And then, you know, obviously up at the very top here, I got to figure out which way I'm going. Plan.
Like the weatherman, you know?
Huh? Yeah, it's backwards. So if I'm going left, I got to go right. I'll just remember that. So, you know, we had to plan. And then as we plan, you know, we do, and we check, and we act. So end of first quarter, we checked what our goals were, how we're doing. We're doing that every month in our half-day meeting. And then, you know, and then we act. So what changes do we need to make? And then we go. So we're continuing that cycle, you know, of continuing to modify change, because your best laid plans at the beginning they're not always going to be exactly what you really need. So you're going to have to make some adjustments there. And then, you know, up at the, on the white section, you know, we show love by a great performance. So we want to all perform well. And that really has to do with the word discipline. You know, we have to take action and be disciplined. And so without discipline, you know, everything, you know, I mean, if you're not disciplined at going and working out, you know, you're not going to be fit, right? So It's just, bottom line is discipline. And, you know, most of us hate it, you know, unless you're, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger or something, you know, you hate that. But for me, you know, it's like something I need to be disciplined at, right? Because I want to be healthy for my grandkids or what have you. And then by hitting our planned targets, and then it says we. And so when you look at the we, it talks about achieving, coordinating, being united, you know, one for all. So it's not just about me, it's about the whole team, and all for one. And then I'm gonna move out of the way here so you guys can see it. But if you look here, you see that the pulley wheel lifting up, you know, growth, and that's growth for the individuals. So we want them to dream big, set goals, and take action. And it's the team on the right that's pulling it. And you'll notice a diverse team. You know, you'll notice red and yellow, black and white. We are precious in His sight, right? We all heard that as kids. So it's a diverse team, women, male, people of color, whatever. That's what we want. And then ultimately, I love my job and my job loves me. So that's kind of our thematic goal, all based around the very beginning: love for customer, love for team, and love for profit.
That's awesome, man.
I love this.
Yeah.
It's like
Very
a
cool
seminar in leadership.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I know. You just
Thanks, guys.
package it up and yeah. No, I think you guys are doing awesome stuff, man. It obviously shows, right? I mean, how much you guys have grown and where you guys are headed.
Thank you. Yeah,
So,
it really has to do with our team.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah.
They're amazing.
I mean, yeah. So from a marketing standpoint, are there things you guys are doing? I mean, finding builders and working with builders is not necessarily the easiest thing on the planet, I'm sure. But how are you guys putting yourself out there, and if you are, and how's it working?
Yeah. So as far as builders go, you know, the biggest thing is making sure that you perform for them. And, you know, labor, we're all struggling with getting the right labor, trained labor in the trades. And so, you know, Tony, who's our VP of operations, does a great job at that in bringing and training on labor, and super grateful for him. And Majid, who's over our finance, kind of also will lend a hand wherever he's needed. So these kind of guys, you know, whether it's David or in operations, George, or Jason in sales, going back to all for one, you know, sometimes we're like, hey, I'm struggling in a certain area, you know, maybe it's operations. Tony's like, I'm struggling at hiring. So, you know, Jason, our sales manager, is like, okay, well, let's brainstorm. And we do a quick brainstorming session. It's typically like 15 minutes. Tony picks the actions items. Maybe one of it's Jason, and he's like, hey, when I'm out at job sites, you know, on my company vehicle, let's get, you know, magnets or whatever that say, you know, now hiring. So if I'm out on a job for fire and there's a low voltage tech that we don't do low voltage for them, then maybe they'll come talk to me or whatever. So, So we just brainstorm how we going to continue, and then I'll support, you know, Tony. So I don't know if I answered your question, Mike, or not, but
no, I mean, I love that. I think that's, I guess. So one thing that we talk about a lot, on this show in particular, is just from a social media aspect, right? I mean, it's such a huge piece of society right now, but it's also not very well represented in the construction or the building sector. So just maybe kind of speak to that a little bit if you guys are out there.
Yeah. So really, like at the builder, the best marketing is performance. You know, it's kind of what I was driving at. You know, making sure that you perform. You know, and man, I wish I could say that we're always perfect, but obviously that's not the case. But, you know, when you get to where you have, you know, 200 projects throughout the state, I can't be on every single project, right? So how do I know that we're performing on that project? So my assistant actually contacts the superintendents for closed, when we have closed lots in those phases, and we'll survey them on what was the quality of our work. You know, how well did we
that's smart,
communicate?
yeah.
You know, did we meet your job schedules? Did we clean up after ourselves? So she'll survey on those things, and then our superintendents are bonused based on the results. That's not the only piece of their bonus, but that is a piece of their bonus. So their job is to make sure that that customer's happy, and then if there's a problem, we dipped a little bit low in here. It brings it up to executive level so that we can start working and dealing with that. And so that performance base for marketing is huge for us, and that's how we kind of monitor that. But as far as to our end user customer is really more of where the marketing and our builder customers, we have a monthly newsletter that goes out. A lot of times it'll have links, and it's kind of fun. It's not just a newsletter. It'll have a puzzle in there. It'll have, Carl, who does our marketing internally, he'll put in there like a quiz or something where that, you can go find the answer by clicking on it, but a riddle or whatever the case may be, just to keep it kind of fun. And
that's cool.
Do that. Yeah. And then keep customers up on the latest technology. Like we just released a brand new panel and smart hub / security system, and it's got a 7-inch touchscreen. Well, some of our customers don't have that, so when we put that in the marketing, the phone's starting to ring. Hey,
Yeah.
I want this 7-inch touchscreen.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And so and that panel is pretty amazing. It actually has facial recognition and facial disarming, so it's pretty state of the art, and it's all contained. It's not out in the cloud. It's contained in the actual product that's in the home. So for security, because people are like, oh, my face. Most people have iPhones now, and you can't get away from it. But from a security standpoint, it's really secure as well. But nice thing is your hands are full. You walk in the door, your hands are full, and you just look at the screen. It knows it's you, and it shuts off. It shuts a security alarm off. So
that's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. I love that. I love the aspect of surveying your customers too, because it takes a level of, going back to what you said, discipline and kind of ownership and responsibility, following up and asking how you did, right? Because it's easy to just kind of do the job and move on. And I hope I did a good job. I think I did a good job, but if I didn't, I don't want to hear about it, right? Because nobody wants to hear how poorly they did. But it kind of creates that level of ownership and making sure the guys are doing well if they're knowing that it's getting called behind them.
Well,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think there's a bigger thing going on here. It's not just like what are the steps that we're taking in terms of our marketing efforts and our sales efforts, and there's a bigger, the ask is like what is your why? And it sounds like there is and I hate the word, we talk about this a lot, and it was exciting at the beginning, but culture, right? There's this team aspect to what you guys have built and are building and currently maintaining, that revolves around the team itself. So it's more than just, hey, how am I going to get my marketing out? How am I going to go get new customers? How am I going to take care of them? It's this is the reason why I'm going to go get new customers. This is the reason why my marketing is the way it is. Or maybe there's some things that we need to handle better because my love for the people that I work with and their families. And on top of that, we want to continue this. So we got to push the profit side of things too. It's just, there's like a deeper purpose, I think, which I love. I feel like every 40 episos we get one of these, right? There's something like, there's something.
It could be anything.
Deeper.
It doesn't have to be alarms, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, exactly. There's that human love, that love for others, that desire to push forward because of that. And I think that seems to me in my mind when I see this, I've got notes here. I'm like seminar in leadership, enhance and protect life, finding purpose in your daily routine, love for team. These are all my notes that I'm taking as we're kind of going through. And there's this deeper sense of commitment to each other, not because you're trying to make a dollar. That's part of it, but there's just so much more. And it sounds like, I'm on the outside looking in, so I can't speak for those that work for you, or work with you. But it sounds like that you guys have developed such an environment that's so attractive It's just exciting. And I've been ranting for a minute now, and I probably could go longer, and I'll leave it at that. But yeah, I'm just excited to hear what you guys are doing, and it's awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I know we're getting close on time. Let me conclude with a story that I heard this morning.
Yeah.
It's a great leadership story. You know, we have our physical bodies, and we have our mental. There's a third component in that most of the time we don't talk about, and that is others. And this morning I was listening to a podcast, and it was talking about a Navy SEAL who happened to be the guy's brother-in-law. And when a Navy SEAL dies, and this Navy SEAL had died, that they actually come to the door of the house, and but it's the guy's partners, not just anybody.
Yeah.
Their actual team, their Navy SEAL team, goes to the house of the loved ones. And so they start exchanging stories. And one of the SEALs said, you know, hey, when we start off in our SEAL training, you know, to see if we can become a SEAL, we start off with like 2,000 people, then it goes to 200 that go to the SEAL camp. And then it ends up being 20 out of those 200 that go. And the last thing that we do is we have this, I mean, they're in freezing cold, you know, I mean, if you've read anything about SEALs, they go through a crazy amount of treachery.
Yep.
The last thing is this swim. And the guy who was telling him said, you know, I was at complete exhaustion. I was swimming. When you get to the shore, you are a SEAL. That makes you a SEAL. And he said, my body just gave out. I had nothing. I couldn't do it. And I just started sinking. And I heard the guy who had passed on, I heard him yell, go! And when he did that, there was something in me that I didn't eat a protein bar. You know, there's nothing that physically, my body was done, and I made it to shore because he yelled the word go. And so the fact of others cheering us on and helping us along the way is really the key, you know, to our success. And I can look back in my life and see others who have prompted me, helped me when I was ready to call it quits. They kind of just lifted me up and helped me out. And so, you know, that's what I think it's all about.
That's awesome, man.
Awesome.
Well, Kirk, we appreciate your time, man. It's been great. I think this has been probably one of the most fun episodes we've had for sure. But before we let you go, I want to let you let everybody know where to find you, how to get a hold of you, and where they can see your stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Our website is kpsalarms.com. And then if you got questions or want to contact me personally, you can reach me at our office, 800-457-7252.
Awesome.
Love it.
Thanks, Kirk. It's
Yeah,
been
thank you,
amazing,
Kirk.
man. Look forward to following
Thanks,
you guys
guys.
and see where you guys are headed.
Mike, Brian, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah.
Thanks,
thank
sir.
you.
Have a
All
good
right.
one.
Have a great day.
And we're out. Hey, thanks for listening. And if you've made it this far, go ahead and give us a like or 5 stars or whatever means you like us.
Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next episode. And check out our website for more video content and extras.
While you're there, shoot us a message if you want to be a guest. We'd love to have you on.
Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.